Hello, my name is Catherine Ramos and today I'm going to explain you how to change active voice sentences into passive voice sentences using the past continuous tense. Well, I will divide the past continuous tense in three forms: affirmative sentences, negative sentences, and interrogative sentences. But first, I invite you to analyze the rules or structure of each type of sentence. Let's start with affirmative sentences. The structure of active sentences in past continuous tense is in this order. First we have the subject, then was or were, it depends on the subject, plus verb with ing form, and last the object. Example, she was writing a novel. Let's continue with the structure of the passive voice sentence. First we place the object of the active sentence plus was or were, then being plus the past participle form of the verb plus by, and finally we place the subject of the active sentence. Now we have the first example converted in passive voice sentence. A novel was being written by her. At last we change the pronoun she by its object pronoun her. Now let's analyze how to change this active voice sentence into this passive voice sentence. The first thing that we have to do is to place the object of the active voice sentence in the first place of the passive voice sentence. This is now its subject. Then we have the were or was. In this case is were because we are talking about a plural noun. Then we place being following the structure of the passive voice sentence. Then we place the past participle form of the verb. The verb in this case is draw, so its past participle is drawn. Then we place by, and at last we place the subject of the active sentence. The subject of the active voice sentence is I, so we replace it by its object pronoun, that is me. Let's continue with the negative form of past continuous passive. To make a negative form of past continuous passive, insert not between was or were and been. Here we have the structure of the active voice sentence in the negative form. Subject plus was or were, then not plus the verb with ing form, and finally the object. Example, she was not preparing dinner. To change the negative active voice sentence into passive voice, we have to place first the active voice object, then was or were, plus not, then being, after that the verb in past participle, plus by, and finally the subject of the active voice sentence. See, the first example now is in the negative form of the past continuous passive. Dinner was not being prepared by her. Okay, to convert a negative active voice sentence into a passive voice sentence, we follow the same structure as the affirmative sentences. The only difference is that we add not between the were or was and the verb that has the ing. Here we have an example. The boys were not playing soccer. Our subject is the boys. Then we have were and add the not for making this sentence into negative. Then we add the verb with the ing, and at last the object of the sentence. To transform this active voice sentence into a passive voice sentence, we add the object of the active voice sentence, that is soccer, in the first place of the passive voice sentence. Now it is the subject of this sentence. Then we have was and add the negative form, not. Then we add being and the third form of the verb. The verb is play, so we add ed to the verb, that is the third form of play. then we add by, and at last the subject of the active voice sentence, that is the boys. Now it is the object of the passive voice sentence. Soccer was not being played by the boys. Finally, let's talk about the interrogative form of the active and passive voice sentences with the past continuous tense. Look at the structure of question in the active voice sentences with past continuous tense. We start the question with was or were, then the subject plus not, then the verb with the ing form plus the object, and finally the question mark. Example: were you not playing this video game yesterday? If we have a WH question, we just need to add the WH word at the beginning of the sentence. Look, why were you not playing this video game yesterday? Now, let's see the structure to change these active voice sentences into passive voice ones. First, we place the WH word plus was or were plus the active voice object plus not, then been plus the past participle of the verb, then by, after that the subject of the active voice, and finally the question mark. Now see the sentence above converted into passive voice. Why was this video game not being played by you yesterday? Let's analyze the interrogative form of active and passive voice sentences. Here we have an example. Why were you reading the dog? We have the WH word, then the were or was, then the subject, then the verb with the ing, and at last the object. We are following the rules of the sentence. To convert this active voice sentence into the passive voice sentence, we have to place first the WH word, then the was or were, then the subject, then being. After that, we add the third form of the verb. The verb is beat, so its participle is beaten. Then we have by, and at last we add the subject of the active voice sentence, that is you, and now it is the object of the passive voice sentence. The sentence is, why was the dog being beaten by you? And don't forget that at last of the interrogative, active, or passive voice sentences, we have to place the question mark.